We are back. Woo! The second episode of our body image series. Last week was so good. I was so excited. People were blessed. I mean, there were so many comments that came in, people getting set free, people that had issues with body image, like kind of walking with a swag. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like people like, you know what that vibe is. Well, I guess Moni will tell me what the vibe is when we get into it. But, I am so excited to have these three ladies. But look, let me tell you about why body image, this message is so important today. Okay. We are in a time like we've never been in before, where people and people groups that have never had a voice have a voice. Okay. And like last week, we talked about stereotypes and what's in and what's not. And a lot of people live in the nots in piece. There's only a marginalized group of people that live in the in crowd, that only have a size 0 waist and are 5'10" and have a size 6 foot. I was really kind of thrown off by that. But if you watched it last week, you know what I'm talking about. But if you missed it, you can still go on the page and watch. Okay. So it's body series. It's the body image series, episode 1, body image influence. We talked about it all, I feel like, but there's still more. We're going to have it's a 5-part series. Okay. 5 parts. This is part 2. Tonight, we're going to be talking about body image positivity, body image negativity, and body image neutrality. Okay. These are some really great topics. I can't wait to dive in. Woo. But let me give you a little bit of my story. So I had talked last week just about how I was always like super skinny. Like I was a part of the itty bitty committee. And a lot of times when people would try to date me or whatever, they would be like, yeah, you're cute. Like part of your body looks great. Your face is wonderful, but like, that midsection over there is not what I'm expecting, and I always felt less than. And when I met my husband, he was like, I love your body. And it was so freeing until I started having kids. And then when I had the kids, I started to expand in ways that I hadn't ever expanded before. And I started having the same qualms, the insecurities, just all of it. It's not really about me. I'm just saying, like, this is just my story. There's other stories. These three ladies have a story. Okay. So we're going to get into it. But let me tell you about mine. I really had issues and I would influx and then lose weight, increase and decrease, increase and decrease. And I did this over like a maybe 10-year time frame. And I was really insecure with my body. My husband didn't miss a beat though. Like I was more insecure about my body than he was ever concerned about it. Like, and I last year during COVID, I ended up picking up like a whole lot of weight. He didn't even notice. So it was my own personal insecurity. Why? Because there's so many stereotypes that are out there about the way you look. The way you look makes people turn their heads. If you lose weight, man, everybody's complimenting you, but you pick up weight and people are walking like, ooh, you know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean, right? So it's necessary. And it's not just about me. A lot of women go through different things. We go through pregnancy. Sometimes we go through eating disorders. Sometimes we go through sickness. And people see us, and the way that they see us sometimes reflects how we feel about ourselves. So it's absolutely necessary. And then since we've been in COVID, everybody's been on Zoom or some sort of social media. And if you look at social media, you feel like your face is lopsided, it's too small, your cheekbones aren't high enough, And people are going out and getting plastic surgery and doing all of these things to their body because they want to look good for the camera. And guess what? They really look funny in person, but on the camera, they look great, right? Because if I get my eyes like this and my lips it looks great on the camera. When people see me in person, it's a whole different story. So this message is absolutely necessary. Okay. So I'm done with that. If you didn't watch it last week, you got to go watch. Okay. Hey, Vanessa, how are you? Okay. Look, I am about to introduce 3 wonderful ladies. So without further ado, we are going to introduce Monique James, Gwen Harding, and Marie Rogers. Okay. Moni, we're going to start with you. Tell us about yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Monique James. I am a Chicago native, born and raised to my core, honey. That's home, sweet home, but currently residing in Fort Worth, Texas, with some places in between, including Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, where I met beautiful Miss Wonderful Andrea right here. This is my girl. And I am a mom of 4 girls. Hashtag girl mom. Where y'all at? Holla in the comments. No.
Go
girl
ahead
mom
on.
here. Married for 18 years. Background is filled with arts, dance, singer, etc., etc. I currently am a social media manager and creative producer for a ministry. As well as I am in the process, as I know she's looking at me like I'm in the process of launching and really stepping into, which is very much fitting for this topic, the closet thrifter. And I have thrifted my whole life. Okay. I didn't even know that was a term until later in life. Thrifting. Oh, it's a thing. It was just what we did. But in this season I'm in now, I stepped into it actually a little further back, but it became therapeutic for me. I was going through some things, had a 25-weeker a couple of years ago, and I found that thrifting was helping me woosah, y'all. And so I am stepping into figuring out how to merge that world with this world of speaking about that trauma and things that just women go through. So y'all bear with me. Okay, but I'm being consistent. I'll be able to share more soon.
All right, Marie, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Hi, I'm Marie Rogers. I am from the lovely state of Indiana, born and raised. Moved to Oklahoma a few years ago to go to Rhema Bible Training College and then moved back home. I currently work in a child daycare. I take care of little 2-year-olds that run around my feet all day long. All day long. I also help pastor the church that my dad started many years ago, and working toward working in the ministry full time as a youth pastor, hopefully soon.
That's awesome. Okay, Gwen, here we go.
Here we go. All right. I born, raised in Tulsa, still here, hoping to make my escape at some point. But I'm here in Tulsa. I have 3 children. I was a single mom for 12 years and raised 3 boys. So, boy moms, I love you. I know what you're doing. My middle son just got married, so I now have a daughter in the family, and she's just me. I have written a book called The Daring Adventures of Single Parenthood, and I speak to women's groups. My day job, which I absolutely love, is working for Prison Fellowship, and I am the field director in Eastern Oklahoma. So if anyone wants to get involved in prison ministry, I can get you connected. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I am great. Glad to be here with you, Andrea and Moni and Marie, and I'm excited for tonight.
All right, Gwen, I'm gonna make you knock it out of the park. Right. Tell me a little bit about your body image journey. Just kind of give me a picture of what that looked like for you.
I was never tiny, never a small girl, which didn't really matter much until I was in high school. And that's when I started feeling that pressure, that late 80s, early 90s. And I started feeling pressure like I wasn't enough. You know, that's when MTV generation, right? So we're watching people on TV. We're watching our women musicians and actresses, and we're wanting to emulate them. And they were just all so thin. And as I come up, I got married out of high school. having children and my weight, your hips get a little bigger, right? You put on a little weight, your stomach is stretched out, you've got the stretch marks. And it just was hard when I watched Hollywood getting smaller over the years. So from the time I graduated high school until I'm, hitting my mid 30s and divorcing, they're getting smaller. And yet I'm having children and living life and homeschooling. And so I just really had a negative self-image. I didn't like my body. I didn't like who I was. And, I come out of a divorce and I'm raising children and I'm watching friends date and I'm not dating. And of course, what do we go to as women? I must not look good enough, right?
Oh.
I wasn't even thinking that, I've got 3 kids, I'm working full-time, school full-time. I don't have time for a lot of dating. And then in 2013, at the end of 2013, I was diagnosed with cancer. And after a year of treatment, I lost my hair. I have scars from surgeries. I was put into menopause. So the hormones are stopped. You start gaining weight. You have hot flashes, night sweats. So I'm 40 years old having a hot flash at church. I'm turning red. I'm sweating. I'm like running to the bathroom because I'm embarrassed. But you know what? It was in that time that I changed how I looked at my body. I remember just crying out to God, like, why me? Like, I don't have this body that I should have. I feel I should have. And I remember reading in the Message Song of Solomon, which was really strange because I avoided it at all costs as a single woman. But right in that first chapter, it says, though I am weathered, I'm still loved. And it just hit me. And that was that moment of change for me. That was when I realized I have to start loving my body and what it's been through. And a couple of years ago, I heard a podcast where it was said, have you thanked your body for what it has done for you? And it changed my whole perspective on everything I've been through and on having cancer. And it changed my perspective to where my body stepped in and encased that cancer in a tumor to keep it from trying to spread through my body. And so as you change your perspective and your mind thinking on what your body's doing for you, it's given birth to my children. I've been able
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait, Gwen, you jumping ahead. You jumping ahead. Look. Girl, you're preaching, but you're jumping ahead.
That's my journey.
Okay. Monique. I'm sorry.
No, you're.
Let me stop.
To get a sip of water. I said,
girl, I'm telling you, it was. You got all into it, started preaching. You had me over shouting.
So good. So good. I'm like, man, where's my notepad and my pen? But then, oh goodness. Well, my journey, man. So I'm aside from being a girl mom, I'm also the third child of my mom, but she had 3 girls before having a boy when I was 13. So I was the youngest for 13 years. And, all of my sisters and we all have different body shapes, though we all still share parts of my mom, like we look at her body, we see ourselves, but we're all different. So you have that, I look at my big sisters and I think society, media, things around me got to me before I had a chance. I remember being a little girl and having people say to me, why are you switching? That meant like you're trying to make your behind do something, sassy when you walk. And I used to be like, well, I'm not switching, like I remember that being 5 and 6 years old. Thankfully, it wasn't my family, so it's not that type of trauma I'm trying to overcome, but just people, would say things to me like that all the time. And then I started dancing when I was 6. Well, that's a whole nother world of things when it comes to the body, because back then I'm thankful for where we've evolved to, where social media just like lets all the dancers come forth, and I just sit back like this. But back then it was a suck your buns in, push your chest in, you know, everything was so you needed to look a certain way, and I didn't look that way. I was short, so I'm five. I rounded up to 5'3" because I was sure these kids have helped me grow, but technically I'm like 5'1 3/4. So that's some like not real rounding, but I'm 5'3". Okay, so that's what it is. I'm 5'3" and 5'1 3/4. I was always what would be now, you know, slender, but I had a shape. I've always had a little shape, and it for ballet, it just didn't work. And I loved ballet, but I told myself, amongst hearing these voices around me very young, that you can't be a ballerina. So I started embracing modern dance and jazz and tap. And my dancer friends probably don't even know that about me. But I desired to be a point dancer, but it was just the stigma, the stereotypes, all of that got to me so young that I went another way with it. Well, then fast forward, you know, I got married too young as well, Gwen. I was 19 when I got married. We had our first baby a year in, and then the body changes. So not just the normal changes of what our bodies go through as, you know, these moms with, you know, what they do to us, like we morph into a whole different body. But then I'm like, where's my dancer body? How do I get it back? And I spent so long trying to get what I did have back. That part, that's a whole story and journey of itself. But you go through that. And then having a first baby, then second baby, then society started to embrace certain things. So then I started to embrace certain things, but it was based on society. It wasn't me embracing me because I just loved what I saw in the mirror. It happened with the change of what was around me. And fast forward to baby 4, at where they called me a geriatric pregnancy at 35. I said geriatric, but you know, that's how they they label the older pregnant women. I guess that's what we are considered at that point. I went through a thing with that word. I'm
you
like,
know
geriatric, like y'all, I went through it, but through that, I started to just kind of embrace the season I was in. I knew I had this history of high risk pregnancies. All my babies, except for one, was a preemie. My third baby wasn't, because I literally had these awesome doctors that watched me very closely and didn't let me really do much. And I made it to 37 weeks. Everybody else, preemie. My last baby, like I said, was 25 weeker. And so I went through so many things through that process. I didn't have time to think about my image. I realized that, like, I wasn't thinking about the changes. It was baby 4. Maybe I hadn't matured in age. Other than that geriatric word, there wasn't much that I wanted to be like, you know, what? But other than that, you know, like I had her early, and I actually began to embrace what I saw. I was thick everywhere. I couldn't fit my clothes, you know, from before pregnancy or anything. I actually was on a weight loss journey before getting pregnant. And
hold on, wait a minute. Let me interject.
Yes,
I feel like every time I have lost weight, some kid showed up somewhere.
Listen, we love them, but they be some haters. even when they playing. Even when it's not like, oh. But it's okay.
They are haters, because I mean they just pop up anywhere. Just like, you looking good back in your dang clothes, and it's like, where'd you come from? I cried my last one. I was mad for 8 months because he messed me up.
Oh my God, girl.
I was so angry with him. Somebody had to pray for me. Marcus was like, are you gonna be glad when these kid comes? I don't know. So
that is funny. It's true though. It's like that sometimes, you know. It's a lot, but you know, just going through that season, I had all these different challenges with my health too. delve into veganism when I felt like this medical plan wasn't, I just didn't have 100% piece of solely doing that. So I started seeking out some natural things and became vegan during that season, lost a bunch of weight. I wasn't trying. And the thing that I wasn't paying attention to as much, I did one post back then about the 40-pound weight loss because I didn't realize I lost 40 pounds because of what all those nutrients, the minerals, the good eating did for my body. So I was healed. My lungs were healed. I had pulmonary embolism after having my baby, both lungs filled with blood clots, several weeks after having her. And then allergies were healed. Migraines gone. All these things were changing, and I was embracing that. And y'all, I must say, like, I haven't looked back. So I'm not 100% on doing vegan and all that all the time, but I know the benefits of things that I learned about what I put in my body. And my focus has turned into paying attention to what I'm putting in my body versus how I'm looking all the time. I thrift, I do these different things. And my desire in this season is to have all women embrace every tone of our skin, every shade, every size, because we go through too much, y'all. And this time it wasn't society making the choice for me. I was like, society would have said, oh, she gonna die. All these issues wrong with her. No, I chose to live. I pushed. I'm a thriver. So that's what I embraced in this season.
Amen.
And moving forward. And
that's so good.
Kids. Okay.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Let me read these comments.
Yes, ma'am.
So Whitney says, break free. Tulsa Gwen, break free. Freedom. I think we the last two. Get out. I'm still here.
No, there's a couple others, but I'm not gonna start naming people.
Vanessa, your mommy says, speak, daughter. Beautiful now and then. Tiana says, it says Tiana. Yeah, she says, yes, you're a thriver. All of you ladies are beautiful. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, without further ado, Marie, let's hear from you.
Yes.
For me, my weight also went up and down throughout my entire life. When I was 13 years old, I weighed 162 pounds at 5 foot. My family never told me that I was fat because at the time I was also very suicidal with a lot of stuff that was going on in my own world. I became suicidal before I was 12 years old and lived that for well over 10 years of my life. So that had a huge impact on how I looked at myself and what I ended up doing. Well, within a year's span, I went from 162 to 120 pounds and ended up with a very severe stomach issue to where for a year, if I ate, I felt sick to my stomach. So I never really ate much at all. Finally got delivered of it for 6 months, came back for another 6 months. So my weight was always going up and down completely, never steady, never one weight or the other. I finally ended up to the point where when I was overweight again, I just started starving myself. I would just eat one meal a day. I didn't want to be at the weight I was at. I hated myself. I thought I looked ugly. Never really believed anybody when they told me, well, you're really pretty. Like, why are you like downing on yourself so much? And I never believed it. And it took years for me to believe it. And then social media had a big play in it. When I got older, I was like, okay, this girl's really skinny. Why can't I be that skinny? Why can't I have, a thigh gap or whatever, and why do I have to be chunky? Like, I don't like this. I hate it. So I would do what I could to try to get down in weight all the time. And starvation was the only thing that I could think of. Never really thought about it as starving myself. I just thought of it as, hey, I'm losing the weight, so be it. Until one day when I was at work and a coworker looked at me and he goes, you're losing weight, right? I say, yeah. And he looked at me, he goes, are you eating? And that's when the realization hit me, no, I'm not. So they started helping me in gaining the weight back enough for me to actually be able to survive. And I started finding out what my triggers were. What were my triggers as far as not wanting to eat? Stress was one of the biggest ones. The moment I got into a stressful situation, I quit eating. And so then it went overboard, and then I would eat too much. And then I would eat the non-healthy foods all the time. Like, I would just eat mac and cheese and ice cream for dinner every day. That would be my dinner. Well, then I reached my highest weight I'd ever been in my entire life. I was almost 230. And it was about a little over a year ago. And I started realizing the impact it was having on my body. I was in severe pain most of the entire time. Couldn't get up and off the floor working with the kids without feeling like I was going to like crumble because I couldn't move. I had the earlier stages and symptoms of plantar fasciitis in my feet because I would come home from working and my feet would be completely numb. I couldn't even feel them. So I started going, all right, there's got to be a change. I have to do something, and I have to do it healthy. God showed me a way. God showed me an app that I could use that taught you the psychology of how you eat and what you eat and why you eat it. And with that, I'm still using it to lose weight as in a healthy way, but I'm almost down 60 pounds from it just because in a year span, and I feel healthier. I sleep better at night. I don't have, like, Monique, I don't have very many headaches anymore from it. My hips don't hurt. My back doesn't hurt, and it's not anymore of looking, how good do I look? Do I have the shape? Do I have the figure? Yeah, it's great, but it's not the ultimate goal.
Right.
And I love Psalm 139 when it talks about that. And that's what I stood on a lot, that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and God made me. And he shows me how to maneuver past those barriers and go forward in a healthy way.
So good.
Oh my God.
So good.
So good. Okay. Oh, there's so many directions that we could actually go into, like so many. But I am going to limit myself and calm down. So what I want to talk about body positivity. Okay. Let's jump in there. I wanted to give you the definition because, like, before we did this, I did a whole campaign. Now, let me do this little interjection here, okay? And then I'm gonna tell you what Whitney said. I'm gonna do this little interjection here. I talked to a guy, and he was like, I saw that you're doing the body image thing, and I know it's for ladies and stuff like that. And I was like, no, it's not for ladies. He said, what do you mean? He was like, when women talk to me, I feel like I'm being attacked. Like, women are attacking me whenever I say stuff about what they wear and all these other things. And I said, okay, when you make the rules and you don't like to hear how people are affected by the rules, then that's your problem and not theirs, not the woman attacking you. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, okay, here's the deal. Say we're in this room and you make the rules. You're the ruler of the room. I tell you I have to use the restroom. I need to leave the room in order to go to the restroom. And you say, no, you can't leave until I tell you to leave. And he says, okay, well, no. I said, you can't leave. I said, well, I'm going to pee on your shoes if you don't let me leave this room. Now, I know that's crude, but it got my point. He was like, oh, okay. I said, so if you make the rules and you don't like how people respond to the rules, then you may want to consult the people that you're making those rules for. So what does that all mean? Men have a huge effect on how women view themselves, right? How we see ourselves in media, how we see ourselves on social media, right? How we see ourselves at home. Because I told you the reason why I wanted to have plastic surgery was because men had told me that I was not good enough. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Gwen said the reason why she wanted to fix her body is because she'd had cancer and nobody was asking her out on dates because she felt like she didn't look good enough. Right? Mm-hmm. So men have a huge effect on how we view ourselves as women. And guess what, men? Y'all raising daughters too. So you have a huge effect on how those daughters see themselves.
Yeah.
And if you make the rules and don't really give a care about what those women feel about those rules, you're raising your daughters to have those same insecurities. So come on in and join the conversation.
Yes.
I am welcoming you. If you don't like what we got to say, come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's hear it. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. All right. So Whitney says, yes, health is well. Let food be your medicine and medicine be food. Woo, that's good. Tiana says, that was beautiful, Marie. Vanessa says, thank you, Marie. That was beautiful. So yeah, they are in here. Look, if you're not commenting, comment, because we're reading them and we're talking about it. Okay, let's do it. All right. So body image positivity. Now I did like a whole campaign and let's talk about it. So body positivity is a perceptual body image. How do you see your body? How do you feel about your body? And how you think about your body? And then the way you behave as a result of your of the way you feel about your body, think about your body, and see your body. Right? That's body positivity. It's multidimensional. So a lot of times people just think it's just the way that you dress and whether or not you can wear skimpy clothes and all this other stuff. It goes way beyond that. Okay? It goes way beyond that. So that's body positivity. The next thing is a negative body image. People that are extremely dissatisfied with their bodies are at risk for mood disorders, body dysmorphia, disorders of eating, which Marie addressed, muscle dysmorphia, relationship problems, and self-harm tendencies. I'm gonna play a video for you. Just give me just a second. Let me do this real quick. I'm just gonna interject this right here.
Feels like you look absolutely horrible. Work out, you've gained a pound. No, do not eat that, you will gain weight. I can't find anything to wear, everything looks bad on me. No, do not go out, everyone will make fun of you. It's so much safer in here, can you relate?
So it's not just affecting women, it's affecting men too. It's affecting the way that they see themselves too. Okay, so this is not just a women's issue, even though women are on here. Okay, because I asked the men to come in. Y'all didn't come. Okay, so come on. Join the conversation. And the last one, last but not least, I think a lot of people want to hear about this. Body neutrality. It values the fact of what your body does for you over the way it looks. Over the way it looks. So mainstream media has come out with like strongly on body positivity. Now, some of them are now pushing body neutrality, right? Because it's a big deal. Now, let me list some of the names. Lizzo. Y'all know Lizzo? Everybody know Lizzo. Okay. Monique. You know Monique? Not this one. The comedian. Mindy Kaling. She's an Asian actor. Demi Lovato. Adele was one of them. Chris Pratt. Jennifer Lopez. Serena Williams. Anne Hathaway. And Danielle Brooks. Here's my question. Where does Christianity get its perspective about body image? Because while the world is coming out, the secular world is coming out with body positivity and body neutrality messages, where is Christianity coming out with these positive body images? Or are they coming out with these positive body images? I'm going to start with you, Marie.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of it in the Christian realm, from my perspective. And it actually really saddens me because, I mean, I love that, you know, there's people in the world that are coming out with it, but why are the Christians staying silent? because the world deals with it. Even though we are Christians and we are God's children, we still live in the world. We're not of it, but we live in it. So why is the Christians not speaking out about it? Why aren't the Christians like coming and saying, hey, this is something that we deal with? And I think one of the biggest things, I'm going to try not to cry. One of the biggest things for me that I've seen is the Christians have shoved it underneath the carpet and don't want anything to do with it. Don't talk about it. If you don't talk about the issue, it's not there. You know, don't go to somebody else and talk. Deal with it within yourself. Go to God. Go tell him. Go to your family. You know, it's being pushed under the wayside, and I think that they're afraid that when they come out and speak about it, that they're going to get shamed for it. In reality, we need to speak out about it so that way the world knows there is a good Christian view to it versus just what the devil has to say about it as well.
Gwen.
Well, I am old enough to remember potlucks, lots of fried food, after church. Every get together had a ton of food, ton of pies, sweets, rolls, gravy. I mean, you name it, it was there. And everybody piled their plate up high. And then there came a movement of using your faith to lose weight. And I believe that they were trying to be good. I mean, I don't think they were purposefully being negative, but they were putting so much focus on weight and the connection to faith that if you weren't losing weight, you didn't have the faith to lose weight. And I think that can mess people up, because if they're in these Christian groups for weight loss and they're supposed to be praying and, following the Holy Spirit, which is good. We should do this, right? But if you put so much emphasis on one side of it without the other, then what you have is, if people aren't losing weight, or maybe they're not losing it as fast as the person next to them, then these mind games start playing. Do I not have enough faith? Is it a lack of faith? Is it, instead of everybody types different and people have different needs? I mean, if you're a pregnant mama, you've got to have so many calories, right? If you're nursing, you need so many calories. So if you're associating faith with it, or what they're calling faith, and it's not working, then you start doubting yourself. So in trying to move to a healthier body and a healthier lifestyle and lose weight and look better so you look good, when you're connecting and putting everything onto faith, and I am a faith girl. I mean, I have believed God, and faith is my thing. But when you put unnecessary pressure on it to where you're measuring yourself by that, your mind can start playing tricks on you that you just don't have enough faith. So I think it needs to come out, like Marie said, there needs to be more education. There needs to be more of what healthy is. Instead of focusing on a number on the scale, what's healthy?
Excuse me.
Whitney said, Lord have mercy. Okay, Monique.
So you, Marie and Gwen, have both tackled a lot of what I could have shared on and piggybacked on. And as they continued to speak, I thought about, well, what about the other side of it? Like being sent home, me being the person sent home to change my clothes that were not inappropriate, that other people in the same music situation would wear any week, but I was sent because it looked a little different on me. I was first asked, how close do I live? Then I went home because I lived across the street. Changed. And for 2-3 years, week after week, saw people in way more risque things, not even following certain guidelines. You have that side of it. And then you have the side of things of, and this, of course, is the church of, being a vocalist and everything, and being told, well, you have too much soul, or you're too this, or you're too that. when really it was not about a sound, but kind of an image, a kind of a sound too, but I can't change me. So then the negativity over the years for my own experience, I felt like I was kind of by myself, because once again, the church doesn't discuss this stuff. And not just the leaders, but the other members that aren't in a leadership position dealing with this and going through it, we're not talking to each other about it. We're just kind of going through it and dealing with it. And in my case, I had a truckload of stuff I'm dealing with. And those things I just shared over time, they build up, they add up. Especially my family, we've relocated multiple times to serve at ministries. And so it got me to a point of where I just became a hermit and just stopped being involved, because you can, as a person, only take so much of for you is who you are. Like, how do I change my look? I can wear something different, but then you still have something to say. I can't change my tone, my skin tone, like, so there's that side of it too, that fits. It's not always a weight thing. Sometimes it's the rules apply for certain people and not others. And that wasn't just race. Let me tell you, it wasn't cultural. It was
body type.
Body type, and other people too that may have been a bit more voluptuous than me. Maybe they were in a certain crowd that I wasn't in. And so you see these different rules, you see things that are ignored. And when I kind of stepped away, then I had more people talking to me about it. And you see, it's not just me. It's a lot of people that go through this. Our weight, our looks, are right there in the place we dedicate, some people, I'm going to say 3 to 7 days a week to, depending on what church you're linked to or ministry, right? I'm just saying, when I was a kid, it might have been, excuse me, mama, but it might have been 7 days we were up in there. My parents were very involved. And most of this happened, like when I was growing up in Chicago, most of this was more so when I left there. Back there, I grew up in a Black church. Everybody was Black. So race never really got involved we were all Black. And it was more of you dress like this sometimes, you wear your stockings. If you don't, you're going to put a sheet around you, so there's always something when it comes to women and ministry.
So I'm going to say this. I love y'all like a whole lot. Everybody out here, I love you. But you gotta, you're hearing from these ladies. They don't have a specific body type, right? They don't have a specific body type. But yet, their self-esteem, their value, all of it rested at one point until they have come to a different perspective on their body type. And guess what? When it doesn't fit the mold, you start feeling real bad about yourself. Did y'all hear that? These are real stories, y'all. Okay, so listen to that. We're not just making it up. We're not coming up here on our box just saying, hey, look, y'all just out here mad. No, you got to see it. Okay, so we're here. Come on, ladies. If you know what we're talking about, please say something in the comments. Yes, that's me. I've experienced that, or my friends have. Come on, tell me about it. Okay. I hate it. I hate that this is the reality that we live in, right? Because when you are in a different location, when you're around people that can relate or kind of like you kind of get, oh yeah, okay, well, that's normal. Everybody's got different body shapes. But then you come into a situation that's supposed to be multicultural. We're supposed to be open and accepting, and we're supposed to be embracing everybody, no matter where they come from, unless you look a certain way. Where we at? I mean, I'm not on here bashing. I'm just saying, come on, let's open our eyes and let's see what's really going on. Okay, let me not jump on the soapbox too much. Tiana says, when we become comfortable accepting ourselves, it's easier to give acceptance to others. See, that's it right there. That'll preach, Tiana. That'll preach.
Yes, ma'am.
Shaniqua says, it seemed like every day y'all was in church, I guess.
Oh, that's my sister. Sorry, Mom.
Every day.
Putting her out here in these internet streets. We just saying. Every day.
Every day. Man, I was in there every day too. Monique says, thank you for having this forum. You are all beautiful. Vanessa says, thank you for your transparency. So I hate to say this, but it seems like Christianity, because we want to conserve so much, we're not really seeing what's going on. Like, yeah, we conserve certain values, certain things, you know what I mean? But at the same time, the reality that we all look different, there's all body shapes, we can't perpetuate certain things, right? We're not embracing it. So it takes the world or the secular world or Hollywood to tell us what's okay. It takes social media to tell us what's okay. It takes us watching TV in the privacy of our homes to tell us what's okay, even when we get up on Sunday and tell everybody not to be watching that ungodly TV. But it is what shapes our minds and the way we think or our openness to it, right? And I'm not saying that everything that's on TV is right or good. Everything that we stream is right or good. Every TikTok is right or good. But what I am saying is that sometimes it takes those things to break down the walls because we're hearing it from other people's opinions. And that's what we're doing right now. Okay. And I'm not trying to preach, but here we go.
Oh, you
Go.
Is it okay if I say something?
Go ahead on, girl.
Well, when you were just saying that, it made me think. I think a lot of times, and you guys might be different, but like I said, have moved around quite a bit. And so I found myself moving into the situations and working on fitting the mold there, working on becoming a part of the culture there. You know, and no one, and this is no shade. This is just kind of how it's been, you know, in my situations. No one kind of says, well, let's learn your way, or that's not what happens. You go into these situations and you're working on becoming that. And a lot of times you look around and everybody's kind of the same. Now, I'm not saying everybody is but everyone maybe, a lot of people maybe had the same mindset when coming there, is to kind of come and be a part of this and learn that way. The world, you don't have to do that. It's like, be yourself all the time. Be yourself, free yourself. Back in the day, free your mind. You know, everything was free. Follow your heart, even though your heart can lead you astray, you know, but that's their thinking. Versus here, it's like we join here for this to learn this way. And that's kind of the church or that specific ministry's culture.
Yeah.
For lack of a better, way of.
Did you want to say something about that, Gwen?
Well, we walk into situations and like she was saying, we want to be accepted. So to be accepted, do we have to change who we are, change how we dress, how we talk, what we say in order to be accepted? And that should, in my opinion, that should never happen in a church. But honestly, it seems like it's the world that's more accepting. So when you look at our teenagers, and statistically, when they go off to college, they leave the church. So if you look at it, we need to examine how we look at people, how we accept people into our churches, into our circles. If someone feels that they have to change to be part of what you're a part of, it takes away a piece of themselves.
Marie, you look like you got something you wanted to say.
Listening to all of that, it reminds me of thinking that the church is trying too hard to be a church and not like Christ. They're pushing people
Oh my
away.
God.
They see people
Preach.
as a lost cause instead of a lost soul.
Mhm.
So if you don't fit the mold, if you don't come in and look like how we look, when it's that's all it is just the outward appearance, it's the heart is what matters, then you're not even accepted. Who cares? Go back to the street. I've talked to people who live a lifestyle of sin all the time because they don't want to go to the church because they're abandoned by the church because they don't want them. When are we going to start seeing every single, even a Christian, when are we going to start seeing people as lost souls instead of lost causes and chase after them with the love of God instead of playing self-righteous and playing self-church? Be the church that we're actually supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Where's the
So my next, my next question was gonna be, is it necessary? But y'all already said it. So then let me ask you this. Let me follow up with this, because we're not talking about it, because we're not promoting body positivity, because I think that this is the crux. People are having a hard time figuring out, well, how do I promote body positivity? And then I'm telling you that you need to cover up. I can't manage you if I tell you that your body's good. I can't manage what you wear if I tell you that your body's good. Come on, y'all. Can you answer that? Come on, help me.
The first thing I
help
think is, are we so worried about stepping into pride that we don't want to encourage? I mean, that's just the thing that pops into my head, because we're, as Christians, right? The humble man, be a servant to all. And do we get this connotation that if we accept people and we're positive about them, about their body, about them as a person, that we accept them wholeheartedly? Do we ever worry that they could become prideful, or we're operating in a pride realm when we should be operating in a humble realm? However, if the Psalm 139 can tell us we are beautifully and wonderfully made, that's what we need to be saying to each other and to all those who are around us and those who come into our church. You are beautifully and wonderfully made, and we are so glad to have you here. We just love having you here. What we want, what you have.
That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. Every once in a while, too, you'll see those ministries that stand out. You know what I mean? And you know that they're those ones.
Yes.
But it's so, slim pickings with that. And that's unfortunate, because, just being a believer, I'm a believer. You know what I mean? But if I don't do it the way and go with the grain, if I do anything that looks like it's a little too like you're saying, it comes across as prideful. Andrea one day complimented me on how I sang, and I don't know what I said to her, but clearly it was a stereotypical, like, churchy response. Okay. And she started to question just little things. She said, so why did you say it was some part of how I responded? And then here I come with the scripture to back up what I said. It was talking about the anointed, but because the anointed destroys the deep, honey. And we had probably a month-long back and forth conversation about that. And through that, things started to break, because I just didn't realize that, man, I have been taught this way that isn't the Christ way. I mean, that it just isn't. I should be able to simply say thank you if I want, and it not be like I'm operating in pride.
Yeah,
or I'm operating in
exactly.
this, or I'm, you know, and I just believe a lot of people deal with that. We struggle with just embracing these gifts, these callings. We all have them, you know what I mean? God put them in us. He wouldn't have if we shouldn't embrace them, if he didn't want us to thrive in those things. And we have the most challenging time sometimes saying thank you when complimented on all those beautiful gifts that he put in us, that he's developing, that he wants us to use and be bold and confident in.
And the way we look.
And the way we look.
And the way we dress.
And all of that, right?
Positively, right?
Yes.
But I'm gonna throw this out here, unless Marie has something to say. Marie, did you want to say something to that?
Actually, I was thinking while both of them were talking, and the acceptance of people, even if they don't dress the same way we do, and they don't act the same way, the closer you do get with Christ, the more you actually respect yourself. So the person that may come in with a short dress and the really low cut top, first day in church, you push her aside. There you go. She's gone. The boy with the jeans all the way down to his knees, you push him aside, he's gone. But if you accept them in and take them, the closer they get with Christ, the more they'll start respecting themselves and the more they'll start changing the way they look. But it's not going to happen overnight. And it's not going to happen if the church keeps pushing them away and telling them, I'm sorry, that dress is way too short. Get out of here. Instead, hey, let me show you where to sit. Give them the respect they need to also learn how to respect themselves.
Right. Sometimes what happens is people try. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead on, girl.
I was just going to say people people can join churches or join different ministry situations, and you find yourself years later trying to weed out what happens to the relationship part. Where did I miss it? How did I get so caught up in all the culture of the church building, setting, place? And now I'm working on this relationship. And sometimes that doesn't happen really until later down the line, depending on at what point you come in contact with Christ. And for me, I was, like I said, a baby in there my whole life. And then being at different ministries, I found myself in my late 20s in that space. So, we just have to be so careful because it is our responsibility to make sure when we're leading people that we're not causing them to have additional trauma that they have to overcome later.
Yeah.
We're planting negative seeds instead of these positive ones. And a lot of times it is at the surface level with image, but it goes so deep. It runs so deep.
So Tiana asked, what happened to come as you are? Are we teaching wait until you look a certain way or just come?
Yeah.
I agree. I've wondered about that, like, even in my own, like, area that I've lived in, churches don't accept drug addicts. They don't accept people who come in drunk. Like, they're like, oh, bye. But it's like, why don't you let them in? Because God still loves them just as much as he loves you. He died on the cross for them just as much as he died on the cross for you. And I don't see that come as you are. I see that you have to look a certain way, and that hurts me more than anything, because I'm like, that's not the heart of Christ. He doesn't push him aside. So why are we?
Nico said that part. Okay, look. The time, geez, time. It's just not enough time. I want to throw this out there because it may be the pride thing. It may be like we've got to look a certain way, but I think it has a lot. I think churches are scared to promote body positivity because of sexuality, because of the way that we, as a society, sexualize women.
Yeah.
Because, as I mentioned to you before, we cannot control what people wear if we're positive about their bodies. So then if we're not positive about their bodies, are we negative about the body?
Yeah.
And
I would say,
and are we promoting? And the reason why we're talking about Christianity is because this is our realm. Okay, we're all Christian. I'm not saying this is not to exclude anybody that's not. Okay, this is just where we are. This is the conversation that we're having. It's still relevant. We're just talking about in confines of the church. It's still relevant because there are some misogynistic people that still believe this stuff outside of the church. So please don't let that deter you from listening to this panel discussion. We are talking about everybody, but we're just specifically talking about church because that's where we are. You know what I mean? So are we promoting more negative? Is the church promoting negativity about the body, certain body types, and not others? And if so, how do we change that? Come on, Gwen.
So one teaching is for a man who comes across a woman he may think is pretty to look down at her feet or look up at the sky. That's degrading to a woman. For a man not to even be able to look her in the eye. And it is out of, we don't want you to lust towards women. It's the reasoning for it is good. We don't want lust, right? We don't want you lusting after women. However, if you can't look a woman in the eye as your sister in Christ, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing. Because when a man comes up and he looks down or he looks up or he looks away, what's a woman thinking in that moment? Something's wrong with me. If another woman comes up to a woman, she going, the up and down and shaking her head, we're instantly, what's wrong? What have I done? Right? And so what we need to do is teach men and women that these are your brothers and sisters in Christ, and you look them in the eye as a human, a family member that is walking this earth with you, that you're going to spend eternity with. Why are you not giving them the respect to look them in the eye and honor them as a person? Why are we teaching to be so afraid of operating in lust that you can't respect a person as your sister in Christ?
Anybody? Just jump in.
I think I totally agree as well. I think what started out as good intentions may still be good intentions, but was taught wrong. And I mean, I agree. Someone looks at me and they look down. I'm like, what? I got something on my shirt? Like, what's happening? And I totally agree. I think it's become religious versus relationship.
There you go.
I agree. Oh, okay. I agree. Y'all see, I get the hard look when I don't say something on my turn. I get the side eye. I agree. A lot of times I actually told myself, well, it's because I'm married. Even being I'm still a woman, I'm married, but I would actually have these convos with myself. Maybe it's because I'm married, and it wouldn't be like I'm walking through the church thinking, why he not looking? Nothing like that. It just over time, you be thinking like, man. And I came from, like I said, Chicago. The thirst was real out in those streets. Like, you can't walk very far. No shade. Listen, Chicago, I love y'all. If any of my Chi-Town dudes in here, no shade. I'm just saying. And if you're not one, I'm not talking about you. But if you are, you know what I'm talking about. You couldn't walk very far without them whistling and yelling and making all these slurs and stuff to you from point A to point B. And so leaving there and living the other places I've lived, I instantly noticed the difference. And I would think, these guys, of course, are different and things like that. But then they're more respectful, maybe different. But I've questioned it. That's my whole thing. Every state I've lived in, I've talked to my husband about it, his friends, because I've always tried to figure out, like, what is the difference with all these men? And Gwen, you said it. Like, and Marie, piggyback. I just never had the woman, I guess, perspective on what you guys deal with too. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Apparently there's a lot of there's just the misconceptions of what looking directly in making eye contact mean, but over here in the world, you don't make that eye contact. You are, you're being nervous at an interview, you make eye contact. When you're speaking, you make eye, it's a difference. It's crazy, but
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, Nico said, in these streets and in the church, the thirst is really real.
And that's the thing. They just don't even know how to approach a woman to initiate a date. Because I hear my single girls, they be like, what is the problem? Asking me. I'm like, girl, I don't know. They are.
My husband was bold enough to say something. Yeah, my husband was bold enough to come up to me, like, what in the world?
My piece was like, would you be my best friend? Okay, boy.
Whitney said facts. Yes. And she said she got one of those. They looked her up and down too. Go ahead, be honest, Monique. Facts. Yeah. And, I'm about to hit on something, and I'm sorry in advance. I will say this in advance. I have talked about, I said it again. I said this before. It's the sexuality. I really believe it's the sexuality. Yeah, we don't want the women to be lifted up because we can't control what they wear, because there's an internal problem. In other countries, not all men see women as sexual objects.
Yeah.
America is highly sexualized, even in the church. It's highly sexualized. So why can't you wear the stuff and the same thing that somebody else is wearing, even though it's the same length and everything, because it's more voluptuous, because they don't want the men to look. And the women are looking at their men look and sexualize you. So then it's better to fix you than it is to fix the man. Because a man's going to be a man, right?
Yeah. Oh. Always hear that, right? And let these men tell it. If you actually ask them, because like I said, I've asked, because I'm trying to answer for my single friends all the time. They will tell you, oh no, they looking. Oh, they are. There's just this different way. I guess it's a churchy way of doing it, but they're doing it. They're gawking. Some of them are approaching. It's just this whole, like you hit it on the head. And I wonder, even sitting in this platform, like, you're the one that said that. None of us have talked about the sexualization of it all, which is also probably a big part of the kind of mass blinders with that issue. The tiptoe around. That's what I'm trying to say.
I love y'all. That's why I'm saying it. Come on, let's talk about it.
It's true.
Let's talk about it.
How many times are men told, don't get the Jezebel, right? Don't get the Jezebel, to where it's almost that fearful. It borders and walks into that fear realm. Be careful who you get.
Vanessa says it
on the woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It does. Because we become responsible for the way that they act, or how they feel, or what their urges are.
Yep.
Right. So we can't promote body positivity, because if we promote body positivity, then you'll dress how you want to. So I have to make you think that your body's not good. But then it does what Marie says. It messes with your self-esteem and puts you in a place of wanting to be suicidal. Did you know that people that have eating disorders are 20% more likely to commit suicide? Sorry, yep. I said that wrong. People, that's right. It was right. I said it right. I said it right. If they don't have to, I said it right. Yep. The prevalence is real. The prevalence is real.
It's
9% of all Americans
Yep.
have had some form of eating disorder, and it's binging, the binge eating. Marie talked about that. I did it myself. I used to fast when I wanted to lose weight. Say I was like pressing into Jesus. I wasn't. I just wanted to lose like 30 pounds. And then I'd feel good about myself.
But a woman should never, or a man should never base how they feel about themselves on a number on a scale.
Amen. Yep.
So true.
But it's reality. We say, we look at skinny people and we say, because back in Africa, voluptuous women are considered wealthy. Right? Like we are. It's like we are the cream of the crop, you know? Like everybody, you know what I mean? Here, like back in the day in Europe, it used to be that way. If women were skinny, they were like poor. But we flipped the whole thing and we said skinnier people are more presentable. So like we don't want to see the flab and the excess. And then we make fun of people with cellulite, or the heavy people are awkward and they don't have any, what do they say? What is it? What do they have? You know, the positive. What is it? I don't want to say swag because that's what the men say, but like what do women have? What is it? What is that it factor about women?
Look, I'm sure I know it, and it just I
don't know. But when you think,
she's slaying, like she's slaying. She you know, she's
all
a 10 or whatever.
All the things,
all of that, right? Yeah,
right.
Crazy.
We're now it's being promoted, but are we doing that in Christendom? Are we doing that there? Or are we telling people it's the flesh? Stop yielding to the world. Put your flesh under confidence, the it factor. That's what Tiana says. Thank you so much.
Factor. Yes.
Whitney says, and folks don't even know about Jezebel spirit, thinking it's about sexual promiscuity.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tiana says you can be thin and not healthy.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah. Vanessa says, am I responsible for controlling a lustful eye?
Don't put that pressure on me.
That's right. That's right.
Marie, did you want to say something?
I think the only way that you're responsible for it is if you yield to it yourself. I mean, I dealt with porn when I was younger. Part of it was I didn't even know it was porn, because I didn't know what porn was. I was always taught, just don't watch bad videos. I was like, okay. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, okay, well then when I finally came out about it, they're like, oh, that's porn, huh? So, I mean, I was addicted to it when I was like 14 years old for over a year. But I think the only way you're responsible is when you know you're supposed to be away from it and you still do it. But you're not responsible for somebody else's lustful eyes. I don't agree with that.
Right.
Like, it's only you that do it if it's yours.
And also, like, with the responsibility, just my journey has been so, it's had so many levels the last few years. I would even take that responsibility off of you at 14 and thereafter.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have tools to even understand what you're doing, why you're really doing it, you know what I mean? You have so many people dealing with that. So many people, that part of it. Then in their late 30s and 40s and stuff, dealing and figuring stuff out sometimes, you know?
And I think we don't, if we're making the women responsible, we're not allowing men to become the men of Christ that they need to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's go back to the circle, what I said at the beginning of the episode. If I take the responsibility of a man not to lust at me by changing the way that I alter myself so that they don't look at me, even if I'm wearing, like Whitney says, short shorts or sweatpants. If I take the onus of my body shape that God gave me, created me with, like, I didn't ask for this. You understand what I'm saying? If I picked it, if I could pick, I would take all the weight. I would just peel it all off when I had babies and get back to where I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I didn't ask for all of this, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't ask for the way that we look. Some people get nice bodies and they got all the parts, and some of us just don't. It's hodgepodge. It's just like put together. You know what I'm saying? Then we like win and have surgeries that kind of mess with that too, right? Yeah. So, you know, like we didn't ask for this, but if I take that responsibility off of a man, then I give him permission to raise his daughter with the same level of insecurity, with the same perspective. And I allow his daughter to take the blame because he didn't see her as valuable and teach her that men are supposed to respect her enough not to lust after her and not to sexualize her because that's the man's problem.
It really is.
Yep.
Men, don't hate me. I'm just saying. I know you don't like me. I love y'all for real.
You find the women doing the hard work of, like you're saying, covering up and doing this and doing that, and they gonna see what they gonna see. The ones that want to see, they trying to see through all of that. I'm just saying, that's on them.
You wearing 10 jackets and carrying on sitting in church sweating. Sweating. It's hot outside. You sweating. Right? Why you looking so hard? Like what? Right. You know, with all these jackets on, you got a shawl on your pants. I mean, like it's
everything. And if we want to come in there like the it factor, like we're playing, we shouldn't be treated as if we're trying to get attention. And like we're trying to get this and that, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. I love y'all guys. I do. I promise. I love y'all. But we've got to break the cycle. And I want y'all to raise really healthy daughters that don't have these insecurities because come on, they get to grow up and be the people that God called them to be the women that God called them to be. But all these insecurities, it took us a long time to get here. Yes. Did you hear that? It took us a long time, right? And eating disorders and suicidal thoughts. Come on. Should we have to fight through all of that? Okay, all right, I'm done. Tiana says women should teach their sons. I do. Yeah, they walk around. I told them. I said, look. They walk around here just like only underwear. Like, do I do that? No, ma'am. I don't expect you to do it either. If I don't get to walk around with nothing on, you don't either. Cover up. Cover it up. Because I don't want to see those. I don't want to see you. Right? Cover it up. And you know, they respect themselves. They do. They respect themselves and they respect women. They respect women's bodies and they respect themselves because they're like, I don't want mom walking around here half naked. Like, I'm not going to be doing that either. Shoot, if she wants that, we're going to reciprocate.
I'll be honest. I'm guilty of walking around happy and free sometimes. That's the dancer in me. My kids have to remind me windows and such are open, and I'm just being honest.
Okay. So, but you're a girl mom.
You're a girl mom. Yeah.
You are a girl mom. Okay. Because at 2 and 3,
I would be more mindful. But
you would, because at 2 and 3, they start looking. They be like, Mom, what is that? Get out.
That's great.
So Nico says, these looks are blessings from above, admiring me respectfully really isn't that hard, right? Oh my goodness.
That's good.
Yes. Whitney says, I'm convinced I'm called to a beach bikini ministry.
Yes. There you go, girl.
Yes.
Vanessa says, I definitely was referring to the undisciplined lustful eye. I absolutely agree. Preach, ladies.
Yes.
Okay, let me spit out some statistics here. Look, we're coming back. We are coming back. Oh, please, man, if you are on here, stay tuned, please, because this is not a male bash. This is we're gonna put it out there in the open, so that you can kind of think about it. Because if you have daughters, you don't want them in this cycle. You just don't, because it messes with their minds and it messes with who they accept as their husbands.
That's true.
Right? It messes with who they accept, because if you see yourself terribly, you might go for a crazy dude that beats up on you. Just saying. So anorexia is 12 times sorry. The anorexia is 12 times higher than death rate of all causes of death in females 15 to 24. Anorexia. You understand that? 12 times higher, 15 to 24. Right? So if we're promoting this body image, then what's going to happen? Right? What did Marie say? She dealt with this. She battled that. She hated herself. 6% of all people, all Americans, are underweight. Right? Just because you're small doesn't mean you're healthy. Right? I think Tiana said that, and I think Whitney said that too. Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy skinny. Right? And then it's among the deadliest of the mental illnesses, next to the opioid crisis. Do you hear that? There's 10,200 deaths every year, one death every 52 minutes from anorexia. %26 of the people that have eating disorders attempt suicide. You understand that? So we're doing this. We're not doing this just because, we just decided it's going to be something fun to do. We need to bring it home. We need to talk about it in this circle. Okay. Body positivity is a good thing. Body negativity is what we've been promoting. And body neutrality is where you respect your body for what it does for you and not necessarily how it looks. And because we are an hour and 22 minutes into this discussion, we are going to close it out. But before we close it out, I did this differently this time. I want you guys to speak into these viewers, to this audience. What's on your heart? Give me 30 seconds, and then I'm going to close this out. Go ahead, Monique.
This has been a lot. I've been reflecting on a lot while we're discussing and while I'm sharing and listening to these other beautiful ladies. And I just want all of you all to be encouraged. Know that you're not alone. This is why we're doing this now. I'm glad we are doing it now, because it's time for us to discuss these challenges that women have with our image from the inside out. You matter, and be well. Be well. And when it gets challenging, when it gets rough, pray about it. The Lord will lead you to who you can talk to about it, because really that's kind of how Andrea and I started talking in the season we were talking. And there is someone that is going to listen, that's going to be there, that's going to support you through these challenges. God bless you.
Gwen.
This is a heavy subject. And I just want to remind everyone that you're a daughter or a son of God. And no matter what's happening around you in our culture, our society, He loves you. He's made you. You're His creation. You're His little girl, His little boy. And remember that. And when you think no one will ever accept you for who you are or love you, there are people out there that will. They absolutely will. And you just keep yourself in that love of God and learn to love yourself. Because if you can't love and respect yourself, you can't love and respect others.
All right, Marie.
I want you to know that you're not alone in this. Don't believe the lie of the enemy of you're the only person that's ever gone through this. You're the only person that will ever go through this. That's why we're speaking out about it. We've all been there. It may not be the exact same thing that you're dealing with, but know that you're not alone. Pray about it. Ask God. Be honest with Him. Tell Him how you feel. And then ask Him to show you someone that you can talk to that can help you. Because you're not alone. And God is holding your hand, walking you through this. And we are too. Stay strong. Keep fighting. You've got this.
I love it, y'all. Oh my gosh. So look, in 2 weeks, we're coming back for a part 3. And that's going to be a good one too. The first one has been phenomenal. This one has been phenomenal. And I know we're dealing with topics that are really, 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 really heavy. But you know what? I believe that you can handle it. Like, this is the time to deal with that. So the next time that we're on here, we're going to be talking about part 3, body image and relationships. But next week, we're going to have Henry and Naomi Mayer talk about marriage. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.